Okay, so in 2.3 we're going to talk about multiplying polynomials. So just a quick little exponent rule review. If we had x times x squared, since we're multiplying two things with the same base, we would add their exponents. 1 plus 2 is 3. And if I had something like 2x times 5x, I would do the numbers. So 2 times 5, which is 10. And then I would do the x's. X times x, which is x squared. Okay, so we're going to use these rules to multiply polynomials. I'm going to go over both of these methods down below as I do problems, so you can just ignore them for now. All right, first we have x times x, or 6x minus 3. So what I'm going to do is whenever I have something on the outside of the parentheses, I'm going to distribute them in. So x times 6x is 6x squared. Okay, in front of the x, there's kind of a 1, right? 1 times 6 is 6. X times x is x squared. X times negative 3 would be negative 3x. We need to check if we can combine anything. We can't, so we are done. And that's it. Okay, let's look at a bigger one. So this one's a little different because it's not just one number multiplying. So what we do is we're going to take everything in the first and multiply it to everything in the second, kind of like our distributing. So I'm going to do x times x, which is x squared. And then I'm going to do that same x to the 8. X times 8 would just be 8x. Okay, and now I'm going to do the exact same thing I just did, but with this negative 5. So I'm going to go negative 5 times x, which is negative 5x. Negative 5 times 80, which is negative 40. Okay, last step before I'm done, check if we can combine anything, just like our adding and subtracting that we did in 2.2. So x squared, that doesn't have anything to combine with, but the 8x minus 5x, those both have just an x, so we can combine them. 8 minus 5 is 3, so I'm going to have plus 3x, and then minus 40. That also doesn't have anything to combine with. And that would be my answer. Okay, I'm going to show you another method to do this. So this is just distributing, but you can also do it a different way, and I do not care which way you do it. So you do whichever way you like. So this one's called the box method. So we're going to draw a box, and I'm going to put space for 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom. And the reason I'm doing that is because we have 1, 2, and 1, 2. So I'm going to go right in these on the side. So I have x minus 5, x plus 8. And then I'm just going to multiply each box. So in this first box, I'm going to do x times x, which is x squared. And then next to it, I have x times negative 5, which is negative 5x. Okay, and then we have 8 times x, which is 8x. And lastly, negative 5 times 8, which is negative 40. Okay, so now I've multiplied it out, and I'm going to write out everything that's in the box. So I'm going to come down below it and write x squared minus 5x plus 8x minus 40. Okay, now do you see how that's basically the same thing we got up here as well, right? With the distributing method. So we're going to combine our like terms. So the x's, negative 5x plus 8x is 3x. Bring down the other two, so x squared and minus 40. And you get the same answer. So it does not matter which one you do. Whichever one makes more sense to you, you do that. When you are doing the box method, you need to make sure that you have room on the sides for however big your equation is. So like if I went back up to this one and I was going to do a box for it, I have x, which is just one term, and then 6x minus 3, which is two terms. So I would leave space for 2 on top, 1 on the side, or you could do 1 on top, 2 on the side. It doesn't really matter. So I'm going to do x times 6x minus 3, and then you can do your multiplying, and you end up getting the same thing. So again, I don't care which one you do whichever one you think works best. All right, I'm gonna continue to show both methods, and then again, you just need to write down whichever one you like. Okay, let's look at C. So with C, I'll start with the box method this time. So if I have a box, we've got room for 2 on each side. And it does not matter which one you put on which side. So I could put x plus 3 on top or on the side. So I'm going to go x plus 3, 2x squared plus 3x. And now I'm going to start multiplying. Okay, 2x squared times x is 2x. Now let's think about this one. We have squared plus 1, so I'm going to get cubed. Okay, now in the next box, 2x squared times 3 would be 6x squared. We still have that squared from the 2, and then our 3 doesn't have an x with it, so it just stays as x squared. Okay, now I have x times 3x. That's going to be 3, and then x times x is x squared, because there's 2 of them. And then lastly, 3 times 3x would be 9x. Okay, now if you did your distributing, you should get the same thing. 2x cubed plus 3x squared plus 6x squared plus 9x. Okay. And then again, if you get to your box, once you multiply everything through, just write it out below. They are the same thing. Okay, the last step is to combine our like terms. I'm just going to continue doing it on the box one, but again, if you like distributing, do that. So we have 2 that have an x squared. Okay, nothing else has an x cubed. Nothing else has just an x, so those are going to stay. And then 6x squared plus 3x squared would be 9x squared. Right? 6 plus 3 is 9. Okay, flip the page. All right, this one's a little bit bigger. So here's how we're going to do it. We're going to still do the same distributing or box method. I'm going to show you distributing first. So if you like the box, you can skip ahead a little bit. So for distributing, we're going to do the same thing, everything in the first to everything in the second. So 2x squared times x squared. That would be 2x to the power of 4, right? 2 plus 2 is 4. Okay, now I'm going to do that same 2x squared times negative 4x. 2 times negative 4 is negative 8, and then we have x squared times x with a 1. So that's going to give us x cubed because of 2 plus 1. Okay, and now I'm going to do it to my third one. So 2x squared times 5. 2 times 5 is 10. 5 doesn't have any extra x's, so it's just going to stay x squared. Okay, now we're going to do the negative 4. Negative 4 times x squared is just negative 4x squared. Negative 4 times negative 4x would give you positive 16x, right? Negative times a negative is a positive. Negative 4 times 5 is negative 20. And then we're just going to look and see what things we can combine. So, do we have any other powers of 4? No. So we're going to drop that one down. Any other powers of 3? No again. So let's drop that down. We do have 2 squares. So 10 minus 4 is going to be 6x squared. And then 16x, we don't have anything else. and minus 20. And that would be our answer. So that one ends up being a little bit bigger, but same process. Okay, so if you like distributing method, you can skip ahead to go to the next one. Now I'm going to show you guys the box. So when we draw our box, remember we have to have room for the whole equation. So, okay, so this one is a binomial. It's got 2, and then we have a trinomial. So when I draw my box, I'm going to make space for 2 on one side and 3 on the other. So 2 on the left and 3 up top. And then I can go fill these in. 2x squared minus 4, x squared minus 4x plus 5. And then we're just going to go through and do our multiplying. 2x squared times x is 2, and x squared times x squared is x to the 4th. Because again, we're adding the 2's. Okay, 2x squared times negative 4x. 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. X squared times x, it's power of 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. So again, I'm multiplying numbers, adding exponents. 2x squared times 5 is 10x squared. Okay, next row, negative 4 times x squared, it's just negative 4x squared. Negative 4 times negative 4x, negative times negative is positive 16, and then we just have the 1x. And lastly, negative 4 times 5 is negative 20. Okay, so now we're going to write it all out. So 2x to the 4th minus 8x cubed plus 10x squared minus 4x squared plus 16x minus 20. And then we just look and see what we can combine. So 4 doesn't have anything to combine with. The cubes don't have anything to combine with. The squares, we do have 2 of those. So 10x squared minus 4x squared. 10 minus 4 is 6x squared. 16x doesn't have anything to combine with, and minus 20. So those ones are just going to stay, and that would be your final answer. Okay, so it's a little bit quick, but multiply the numbers out front, add the exponents. All right. Okay, this one's a little bit different because we have a number out front. So on this one, what you're going to do is you're going to multiply this 3 into one of these equations. Okay, you're not going to do it to both. So I'm just going to do it to the one after it. So I'm going to go, not 3, 6x plus 3 times 6 is 18. And then I'm just going to bring that other one down. Okay, and again, I'm only multiplying into one of them, not both. Okay, and then you could do your regular distributing method or your box on that one. Okay, so take a second, pause the video, try it, and then see if you get the right answer. Okay, so this one we should get 24x cubed. And then we have plus 72x squared. And then you're going to get minus 18x and minus 54. So that should be your final answer. So, and again, either way, if you do distributing or box, you should get that. Okay, last two. So this right here is one that everybody makes a mistake on, and here's what they do. They think they're going to distribute the square and do x squared minus 8 squared. That is not what we need to do. So what we do, squared really means times itself. So we're going to do x minus